There.
All right, guys and girls. We got Brian, we got Tim, we got Keith, we got Mike, got yours truly, Rob. Harris right now being held up, so he'll try to make it with us in just a little bit if possible. If not, I'll try to get his score and get it publicized here. Um, so we'll see what's happening. He's very, very upset. He said at the airport it cost him $37 to park for 2 hours and 48 minutes. So he's not very in good mood. I don't think so.
Wow.
If he does come, ask him how much how much it costs to park wherever, at McDonald's or whatever, because we'd like to get on his nerves if possible.
Daniel Barry.
Huh?
Daniel Barry's here with us again.
Daniel Barry, yes. We'll start off right now with Harris. Harris is going to go on a limb and say the MVP is going to be number 26, Saquon Barkley. And he's going to go with the Eagles, 33-27. What's the over-under for this game? Is it 48?
I think it's 49.
49. I thought it was a little higher than that. So Harris is going with the Eagles, and he's going with the over. 33-27. I'll even write those down. I hadn't been keeping up. 33-27 Eagles. I hadn't been keeping up with that most of the year. That's been Brian's situation. And speaking of Brian, welcome, Brian. You got a chance for 3 in a row? Have at it, my friend.
Okay, Chiefs and Eagles Super Bowl. I think it's going to be another classic like 2 years ago. It was a classic. When you look at the positions, I think the Eagles have more talent. I think they've got a better offensive line, and the Chiefs, if they are going to win this game, their offensive line will have to play a little better. Joe Tooney's been good at left tackle. 112 pass plays since he was moved there, only 3 pressures, and that's against some of the best pass rushers in NAF. You know, Will Anderson's, the Chargers guys. He's had to defend against some very good pass rushers, and he's done that job. We might be a little weak at left guard though with Caliendo. Y'all have a great defensive line, the Eagles, but I kind of like ours a little better, especially in rushing the passer. I would like to see the Chiefs put a spy on Jalen Hurts. And they did at times on Josh Allen. We controlled Josh Allen much better than we did in the regular season. But the whole thing's going to hinge on, can we stop Saquon Barkley? If Barkley gets well over 100 yards, we're in trouble. But the Chiefs have not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season from the running back position. Lamar Jackson got 100 yards in week 1, but the running backs, none of them. You know, Derrick Henry, all of them, they've been held down. But that's quite a commitment. You're going to stop the run. You're not going to rush the passers as hard. Or that might, cause Philadelphia to do more RPOs. You know, it's going to be kind of a wait and see situation if we're going to be able to handle Saquon. We'll handle Saquon much better than Washington did. I'm pretty confident of that. But will we do it enough? I don't know. Will Philadelphia handle Kelsey? He was shut down last week, but the other guys got their flowers. 2 weeks ago, Kelsey was a normal playoff self, and he had, for 14 straight playoff games, he had no less than 70 yards in every one of those. He's breaking Jerry Rice's records in playoffs. I mean, I thought that would never happen. More receptions than Jerry Rice. I think he needs three more catches to have more Super Bowl receptions than Rice. So I hope he gets at least 3 catches in this game. Look, the Chiefs have a chance to go three-peat. I think that's like a 1972 Dolphins moment. I mean, that's a big deal. I don't think it's going to happen again. The season's getting longer. They're asking teams to play on different days. They're asking teams to play out of the country more and more. 2 years they're going to go to Australia. Next year they're going to Ireland. And that's hard. The Chiefs negotiated all that. But, boy, to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, I think that's going to be very, very hard. Since 1933, only the Packers have won 3 championships in a row. That's the only team since 1933. Now, a few things are encouraging me along the Chiefs' way. You haven't noticed I'm a Chiefs fan. I live in Kansas City. But the last 10 Super Bowls, the 9 most experienced quarterbacks won the game. And only one time the least experienced quarterback won the game. Now, Mahomes is a little bit more experienced than Hurts just by 2 years. That's not a big advantage there. Kareem Hunt has had 8 touchdowns last 6 playoff games. And I think it's kind of cool that Kansas City is practicing at Tulane University, which is where Super Bowl IV was played. At Tulane University. Again, stopping Saquon for Kansas City is going to be the big deal. And I think the way to do that is to get some penetration on the defensive line, because the Eagles pull the center, they pull their guards, they pull their tackles to outnumber you at the point of attack. That's how they run the ball. But if we can disrupt that, the pullers, get somebody through there, then Saquon is controllable, I think. The Eagles, to talk about them for a minute, they're 13-6-1 against the spread. They performed all year better than most people expected. I do think the 2 best teams made it to the Super Bowl. The right side of the Eagles' offensive line is probably the best right side of an offensive line I've ever seen. Becton was moving to left guard saved his career. He was floundering as a tackle but now he's an All-Pro, and he is athletic. He hunts DBs and linebackers and pancakes them. That right side of the line is unbelievable.
Pancakes. I'm hungry.
Goddard is a perfect third down solution. I think he's like 12 out of 13 on third down. Targeted 13 times. He's succeeded 12 times. I mean, he's practically unstoppable on third down. I know a lot of people are looking at that score from last 2 weeks ago where they blew out Washington 55-23. And they're picking the Eagles. And a lot of people are picking the Eagles, saying that the Eagles have a better defense. They allowed 17 points per game. But if you take out the Denver game off the Chiefs schedule, where they played their third string, basically, second and third string, and didn't even coach, didn't blitz one time, and lost 38-0. You take that game out, Kansas City allowed the same number of points per game as the Eagles. Both teams allowed 17 points per game. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell are going to be hard on Mahomes. They're 2 cover corners that are terrific. The biggest thing that concerns me about Philadelphia is lately there's been some illness. Jalen Carter, limited practice 2 days ago, maybe today too. And then it comes out that there are 4 Eagles that are sick. I heard one place that maybe they're quarantining them or something, trying to keep them apart.
I heard Hurts was one of them, wasn't he?
I don't know who the others are.
I think he is.
Well, I'll tell you this: if I heard Chris Jones was sick going into the Super Bowl, I'd pick Philadelphia in a heartbeat. I mean, we could not overcome that. So I'm picking the Chiefs. Big surprise. 24 to 21.
All right. All right. Tim, go for it.
Oh boy. Well,
If
yeah,
that's
it's essentially gonna. I mean, what do all football games come down to? Who makes the least amount of mistakes, and who controls the line of scrimmage? And I seriously do not know who does it better. I mean, yes, the Eagles did have the easier championship game, but that don't mean squat when everybody's got 2 weeks rest. You know, plus I'm sure Kansas City's going to run all the film. I mean, do I think that? I mean, for what it comes down to, I guess, is how are you going to stop Barkley? I mean, you would love to see if the Eagles could maybe have a more ball control offense. I mean, the thing about Saquon hitting those 60-yard runs, it's one and done, and Mahomes is back on the field. That's not what you want. But, I mean, one is fine, but like 5 of them, I mean, you're not going to be, Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells going 12-minute drive to start the second half against the Bills. But, you at least got to put some 6 or 7 minute drives together. That being said, I think Pat Riley Incorporated will be a smidge richer on Sunday night, and I will take the Chiefs to win 33. Actually, no, the last Super Bowl was a little bit low scoring. Let's take it 27-23.
27-23.
I've seen a lot of people pick at 27-24. Yeah.
Did I give Harris's number?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Want to make sure. Keith, have at it, my friend.
Yeah, and if Daniel Berry wants to put his score, or anybody wants to put them in comments, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'd give free tickets out to a Super Bowl and Super Bowl 100, Super Bowl 100 or something. Whoever gets
Let's say Rob Kinsler Field.
Right.
Yeah. Rob Kinsler Memorial Field. It'll be in a dome and no damn windows.
In the Tim Gillis box.
What state is it going to be in?
What state? Hawaii. Or dismay. Yeah.
Actually, no. To be honest, though, but let's back up on the Hawaii thing. They still need to demolish that stadium.
Yes,
that
they
Hula
do.
Bowl stadium. It is still condemned and is still standing.
Yes, they do.
I don't know why they don't build a stadium there for Super Bowls or something. I was talking to my dad last night about. I gave him my pick on this game, and he was kind of surprised. Oh, we got a pick from G-Puck there.
G-Puck said Chiefs 30-27.
Because he said there's a little bar he goes to up there, and everybody up there was picking the game pretty much the same way, opposite of what I predicted. The injuries or the illnesses that could be a problem if it saps anybody's strength for the game. I mean, they're pretty good about doing things with IVs and stuff nowadays, and that is going to be a couple days from now. That offensive line for the Eagles, though, and I think they're superior to the Chiefs up front. Maybe on both sides of the ball, but definitely I think on the offensive line. Secondary, both teams are good. I might give the Eagles a slight edge on that, but I don't know real well on that. I know Karlaftis' name has come up a lot in the last several games I've seen the Chiefs play. He seems like he's pretty good at the linebacker position.
He's defensive end.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was a linebacker.
No, well, he's kind of that mixed match.
tweener?
He generally left end, I think.
He's
Okay.
as good against the run as he is rushing the passer.
Okay, I
He's good.
always just assumed. I never really watched where he lined up, I guess, but I always assumed he was a linebacker.
No, they play
He's
a
number
they
56 or something like that, isn't he?
56.
They play 56.
Yeah.
They play a 4-man rush now. They play a 4-man line where
Okay.
they have had three.
Well, regardless, I mean, his name gets mentioned a lot, and So I respect both defenses a lot. But the running back Barkley and the offensive line, I think, being a little bit better for the Eagles, I think could be a big factor. I do think Mahomes is the better quarterback. A.J. Brown, I think, is going to make some plays in this game. I just see the Eagles having a really good day. And I'm not going to be surprised if the Chiefs win the game because they are a very good team and they know how to do this. But I'm going to go with the Eagles 34-18.
34-18 Eagles. All right, Mike. Have at it, bro.
Okay, here we go. Let's get out of this game for a moment. There's more important things that are going on in this world.
Yeah, we don't care about those right now.
Yes, we do.
Especially me.
Right now, next
More important
week.
foosball things going on.
No, there's one important thing coming on. It's opening today. LZ, baby. LZ. Do you know what that is?
No.
The Led Zeppelin biography. That opens today. Don't you think people want to learn about the history of Led Zeppelin? No.
Are they on their
Well,
Stairway to
unless you want to hear
I
the
do.
humanity, maybe we do.
I do. I want to learn about Led Zeppelin. You know, 89% of people are betting that Taylor Swift is going to be at the game. These are the important things of life. That Mahomes will run 5 times. Saquon over under right now on the rushing yards, 112. Okay?
Hey, Mike.
112.
Mike, what's Philadelphia's percentage of converting on 4th downs?
I do not know, but I will look. I can look that up very quickly. I can even look about the coin toss. Okay, right now the coin toss is 55% heads. Okay,
And
Heads is
50%
the favorite.
tail.
Heads is the favorite right now at 55.
There's only a 25% chance of that, as he said.
Has a 50% chance of heads and 50% chance
Are we
of tail.
having the
They're
three-dimensional
saying
coin
it's
now?
55 to 52 right now. Heads is the favorite. Okay. And there's another important thing. I think we have found the #1 commercial for the Super Bowl right now.
Let us be surprised.
What?
Let us be surprised.
You've seen
don't
it
tell-
already.
Well, don't tell
Probably
nobody.
not.
Don't tell nobody. Don't
I
tell
won't
nobody.
tell
That's,
anybody. I've seen the commercial 5 times on television already.
that's a hidden
I saw
secret.
Not to me.
Probably hidden in
How
plain
many
sight.
people
But
are
that's
going
okay.
to watch Kendrick Lamar?
No,
How many-
Sean,
Not
give us a
me.
score, bro.
How many
You wanna
wrestlers
score?
are going to be at the
You wanna
game?
score? I'm sorry, Keith. They're in my division. I can't go with the Eagles in my division. I've been going with them in the playoffs. I'm going for the 3 in a row. Okay? I'm not giving Pat Riley any of my money. They could say 3 in a row. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs 28, the Philadelphia Eagles 20. Period.
I actually do want the Chiefs to win because I don't like Sirianni and I don't like the tush push. I just don't like those two.
They're not going to ban the tush push. It's a legal move. Ask any referee.
It's a legal
That
move.
is
except it's
legal.
not legal in
No, it isn't.
All
not
right,
legal
and
in
the
anything
final
other than pro
thought.
football.
You see what I
Yeah,
wrote?
in high school
We
football
was
can't.
robbed.
High school football can't do it though.
I don't care about high school. We was robbed. Why isn't Eli in the Hall of Fame today?
Oh, that's
Tell
good.
me why. I can tell you
Because-
why.
I give you a reason.
I don't
he had
think
a
he is a
losing,
Hall of Famer,
500
honestly.
record in the regular season.
he had a losing
record in
regular
regular
season
season
record
was
for his
500.
career. How about that?
What?
He's
He had
got
a
the two
losing
Super
regular
Bowls.
season record for his
No, he had a
career.
500 record regular season.
Was he 500 on the dot? Okay.
Yes. 111, 111.
I don't know.
All right.
Outside of the Super Bowl, I don't
I
think
did
he
my
was
homework.
really.
But I also
Hall of
found
Fame.
out who's on next year's ballot. And
Drew
this
Brees.
might be a reason that they're going to do this. If I'm thinking, do you know who's on next year's ballot?
Drew
as a
Brees.
quarterback?
Drew Brees is on it.
Yeah. Drew Brees, and there's one other
Drew
quarterback.
Breeses, that's correct. Breeses and Manning will go into the Hall of Fame next year.
Maybe.
And then
Yeah,
maybe
like-
one or more,
me-
2
me
more
and
years
Keith-
for Brady, huh?
Me and Keith argue about Mike Stanton or Giancarlo Stanton. He's got 450 career home runs
Is he
already.
a Hall of Fame? Is he a Hall of Famer right now?
What do you
Mike,
think?
As a Yankee fan, no.
See, I think he is. I think he's a clear Hall of Famer.
I don't know
Me
if
and
he's
Keith
clear,
disagree on
but-
it, but that's
Well,
cool.
he just doesn't play that. You never hear his name mentioned.
Yeah,
No,
but his home run, his at bats per home run.
I haven't even heard his name mentioned in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, he hits too many home runs not to. That's the thing. That's kind of like if somebody plays in Seattle, we never hear about him. I mean, we can't fault him for that. I mean,
Right.
But he's a
Keith Fox,
Yankee.
Fox, and-
I understand, but the thing is, yeah, I didn't
Okay.
say he's the best Yankee, but he's a Hall of Famer though. He's a Hall of Famer.
While we're going down this road, I was a little disappointed last night that Jim Trier was not picked in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, but you
Jim
know
Trier,
what?
it'll never happen because of the CTE
And
problem. But
He's a
in the
murderer.
1960s, he was one of the top 2 or 3 offensive linemen, period, for 10 years.
I know,
Yeah,
but
he-
he was convicted of murder, wasn't he?
He killed because of the CTE. He killed his wife and then committed suicide. And he was the very first case of CTE that they knew about in the NFL. And I think for that reason, he'll never be in the Hall of Fame. But I think
Nah, he probably won't.
but I do think he's deserving.
Okay.
Yeah.
I,
I read
By the way,
about him.
When he was a player for the Chiefs in the 1960s, he was a genuinely mild-mannered, nice guy, a very nice guy.
I know.
Rob's got to make his pick, but I have a question for you later, Brian. And let me get Rob's pick. And I
Well,
wanna
while we're
ask
on the CT, just real quick, a coworker of mine's tragic story. Nephew just attempted suicide a couple weeks ago, and basically
said-
is life
Yeah, they
support.
donated-
Last I knew.
Are they
and,
donating the brain?
Well, what I was getting to is there was a guy that's a so-called expert on CTE. Looked at the brain scan, said he has it, and it was a result of a automobile accident years
Ugh.
ago,
Ugh,
and the trauma that caused. But anyway,
terrible.
Yeah,
it
that's
just made me
terrible.
think of that.
it's tragic. Those things.
All
I
right.
already made
Well,
my score.
huh?
I made my score.
You
What was it again, Mike? I'm sorry, we were
I took the
28,
Chiefs
20.
28, the Eagles 20.
20. Okay.
I'm kind of like Keith on this one. I think there's going to be a little bit of pushing around early. We're going to see anyway. Do I think Hurts is going to run for a lot of yards? No. I don't think he's capable of doing it right now. I think he's hurt. I think it's more. I think it's more. Philadelphia has got to put Reed Blankenship on 15. I think he's got to. He could get 75 rushing yards easily. I think he could. I think he's going to have more rushing yards than Hurts. But I think Hurts has more weapons. Saquon, Brian said if Saquon gets 100 yards, the Chiefs are in trouble. I won't be surprised if he doubled that.
Wow.
100 yards, I think he'll have that by halftime or middle of the third quarter.
Yeah,
I think-
I don't see that at all.
Unless he breaks one real long
No, I
one.
don't see that at all.
I say he breaks 3 runs for at least 25 yards. That's what I think is going to happen.
So you
I
The
think
Chiefs- Okay, the Chiefs have only given up one over 30 yards all year.
Yeah, but they hadn't faced him. He's
They
the
faced some good backs.
Who?
They faced some good backs.
Oh yeah, they face some good backs, but not the best back. And this is the best back right now. I don't think there's any doubt in the
Again,
in the
no
league.
100-yard rushers all year against the Chiefs. Not one.
Yeah, I just think they've got too many. You know, it's unfair to have Saquon and put him against the kid at Baltimore. Baltimore don't have a passing attack that Philadelphia does. Philadelphia's capable of running for 350 and throwing for 350 any day. And
Lamar threw for 4,000 yards.
who?
Lamar threw for 4,000.
Oh, I know he did. I understand Lamar threw 4,000 yards, but looking back, see how many 300-yard passing days he had. Two. I think it was two. And he had a lot of pressure taken off of him by his running attack too. But I don't know. I just think this is a name that keeps popping up in my head that's going to play a huge role offensively. Dallas Goedert. I don't know. I think Dallas Goedert is capable of getting 6, 8, 10 catches in this game. I think he's as big a threat for them as Kelsey is for the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have two other guys that can run for days, and I just think that it's too much. I really do.
I think Goddard is still catching passes against the Commanders.
Oh yeah,
he never covered him the whole game.
He never did stop.
Yeah, Goddard.
I don't
they
know.
have him over under 62 yards.
For Goddard in the Super Bowl, I'd go over that.
Me too.
But last I saw, it said Saquon over under was like 114. I'll take over on that one all day long. And the last time I saw for Mahomes, it was 66 or something like that. I'd take over on that one too. I think these quarterbacks are going to do a lot in this Super Bowl, but I just don't think Hurts is going to run the football for as much. I think he's going to have to throw the football. I think some kicking is going to come to play in this game too, but I just think by the end of the game, they're going to have it under control. 34-23. I'm taking the Eagles in this ball game. I think MVP of the game, just Reed Blankenship. I'm going to say he gets a pick. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I just think Reed Blankenship is going to be the player of the game. Something's going to happen. Or Baun, B-A-U-N. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Yeah, he's at number 53, I think. He's a linebacker for him. And I don't even think he was drafted. Huh?
He's excellent.
Yes.
He's very good.
And I just think somewhere in the middle of that defense is where they're going to end up doing real well. If they don't show up, they're going to be in trouble. If Kelsey gets 10 catches, Philly's probably losing this ball game. And he's capable of getting 10 catches. They can't give him that.
What about, I got a name for you. How about Hopkins?
Well, Hopkins is
I'm
going
not
to
looking for a lot from him.
No.
Somebody is.
I think Hollywood is more capable of getting 6, 8 catches than Hopkins. I just think so. But I just think when they have to get their first downs, 87 is where they look for. And if they don't get him, they're going to be in trouble. We'll see what happens. I still don't like this kickoff situation, the way we do that, because obviously somebody's going to be onside kicking in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and I hate it that you have to tell about it. You know, I just
tell them. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it stinks. That's kind of like sneaking around and trying to do something, and then you have to tell them, I'm going to rob you blind now.
Right.
Nico Remigio might be a factor on these kicks. He had a 63-yard kick against the Texans and I think a 41-yard punt return against Buffalo. So he's a factor.
Yeah.
And then on the kicking, Elliott's only made one over 50 yards this year.
So
He's
Yeah.
missed a bunch of them.
So you're saying
And
that,
Butker doesn't miss.
yeah, but the
It's,
problem is he spent a few weeks on IR with his knee, with an injury, with his
Yeah.
knee injury.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore's already agreed to take the job with the Saints, right?
Yeah, but obviously, we will. It's
Hope that's
it's
not
kind of a
But the Saints are holding off until after the Super Bowl for that. Yeah.
to make that
Ryan.
announcement.
But,
Yes.
yeah, they can't make that announcement yet.
Here's
No,
my
they can't.
question for Brian, because he's a big Chiefs fan. He has watched this whole procession of 3 years in a row. When it comes down to it, who, if any, who would you put in the NFL Hall of Fame? Once
That's on the team now.
which this whole run is done.
Oh, from all these
Well,
teams?
Hall of Fame. Well, Kelsey, I think, would be in the Hall of Fame. I think Mahomes will be in the Hall of Fame. Joe Tooney will definitely be in the Hall of Fame.
And Jones, he just has to have a little more longer career. But
Or
Jones can
Andy
make it.
Reid.
Andy Reid. Andy Reid has never been the coach of the year. He's
Yeah,
the
I
only.
know.
He's the only coach that has 100 wins, at least 100 wins with two organizations. I think 140 with the Eagles or 100 with the Eagles. He's got 300 wins.
To me,
Most of them
that's
are
a
with the
Hall of
Chiefs.
Famer.
He's also the only coach that's won 4 championships consecutively, 4 with the Eagles and 7 with the Chiefs.
Mhm.
Then-
That's a Hall of
Question for you guys: if either one of these two number one quarterbacks falls out of this game for any reason, and let's say the scores are within 3 points of each other, and it's still halftime or whatever, is that pretty much a game breaker right there for you guys? To
Yeah,
say
if Mahomes goes down with an injury, it's over for the Chiefs.
think so.
But if Hurts goes down, I don't think it's over for Philadelphia.
I think
Yeah.
Philadelphia would have a better chance, but
Much better.
I don't think either one could win without their starter. I really don't.
Yeah, but
But
I
I
do think
think-
Philadelphia would have a better chance for sure.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Wentz. I'm just not sure Wentz.
I'm
Huh?
not either. Here's
No.
another name
Yeah.
I forgot to mention. Your defensive coordinator, Fangio. The Chiefs. He was in our division. The Chiefs have played him 8 times, and they beat him all 8 times. So I'm looking for Mahomes to have a really big game because his defenses don't try to confuse you a lot. So Mahomes is going to know what's out there, what he's facing every time, and that's not good for Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And that's why Fangio has not been able to beat us these 8 times.
They got.
Yeah.
Oh,
The only thing though, when you talk about Fangio, he was he with Denver?
He's been with a few different
6
teams.
of those games he was with Denver and other teams, the other 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was
The
with
Bears had
Giants.
him for a year or 2 as well.
Yeah, and that I don't know. I think I don't want to take nothing away from Fangio, but you could put anybody in that defensive coordinator spot right now for the Eagles, and they're going to look like a damn winner anyway because they got really really good players right now. I mean, what they got 5
Yeah.
All-Stars this year? Shit, I mean they're
But you guys have cycled through some coordinators, and now you got the right ones. You got good ones now.
So
Yeah. And he's probably gone too. He's probably going to end up leaving too before it's over. Maybe not this year, but he's not going to stay much longer. You wouldn't think he would anyway. So, but-
you would think it would be more of a managerial, the general manager, who's made the more right decisions in Philadelphia,
well,
and Kansas City.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, they were wanting his head. What 6 years ago? 5-6 years ago. What's his name? Howie Roseman.
Yes.
And then especially when he went after and got Jalen Hurts. Oh my God, that city was ready to kill him. They were like, "What in the hell are you doing?" Then he comes through and starts playing pretty decent. Now, they go. What was it 2 years ago? They traded up with the Bears, I think, and got Jalen Carter. Remember that? Remember, Brian? We was talking. We did cover that draft.
The draft, yeah. We
Yeah.
talked about Carter's lack of discipline. quite a bit.
Yeah. And because he was supposed to be a top 5 pick, and he
Mhm.
fell down to what 16th or 18th.
He fell a long way. Yeah.
And, yeah, and I had been hearing because I just had went to Philadelphia a week or two prior to that, and I said they want these guys from Georgia because they kept 3 or 4 in the core, and they were all really good friends with each other. And I even mentioned that night, if you go back and watch it, I said Philadelphia might be trying to get this pick, and at that time, all of the good offensive linemen were going, and all the good wide receivers were going. I said Jalen Carter is their pick, and because they were looking at this tackle from Northwestern too. I can't remember his name, but and a lot of people picked him. And I was like, I think Jalen Carter goes now. I don't think Jalen Carter could have worked in every spot. I think where Philadelphia kind of lays the hammer down when they have to. They'll make examples of somebody if they have to.
Yeah.
And I just think Carter ended up being he ended up working out for him real well.
As it's worked out, I think Jalen Carter is just as valuable to the Eagles as Chris Jones is to the Chiefs.
Oh, I definitely agree. I agree with you.
Very
Yes.
confident.
He is definitely their number one piece they have to
And
worry
that's going to
about.
be that's going to be a matchup to watch. That's 2 All-Pros. You got Trey Smith trying to guard
Yeah.
Jalen Carter. That's going to be fun to watch.
Over under, guys. Both teams together. We add both teams sacks up. 7.
I was just gonna go there. I was just gonna say that. It's like you remember I said, does anybody here think that there could be 7 or more sacks? I was waiting for you guys to get
7 sacks over under, Brian. Both teams.
Well, let me put it this way. 2 years ago, Philadelphia sacked.
Damn,
They
that
had
freaks me out.
78 sacks 2 years ago. And in the Super Bowl, they had 0. And then this year, they're still good. It's 40-something sacks, I think. I think in this year, they'll probably get 1. I don't see them getting much more than 1.
I'm talking about both teams together. 7.
And then us against the Eagles, I think it's going to be like we had 7 or 8 against the Texans, but it's going to be harder because y'all have a better offensive line, and we got to focus on stopping Saquon.
So you're going under 7?
I would go under 7, yeah.
Tim.
Yeah, kind of the 3 apiece thing. I'll go under.
Keith.
Well, 7. I mean, I literally was sitting here waiting for you guys to get done with Jalen Carter, and I was going to ask the question: does anybody here think there could be 7 or more sacks in this game? I was just waiting for you guys to get done, and then you come out with that, and it's like, damn. But 7 is the number that I was sitting on, so
Okay.
that's a push. So 7 is the number I'm going to predict. But if I have to go 1 or up, I'll go under just because 8 is quite a lot.
Yeah,
So,
a little much. Mike?
You know, I think, and I don't know why, I think the officials are going to put their flags in their pocket because they've been under so much pressure in the playoffs and throughout the whole season. So I think that there's going to be a lot of holding, and I think the teams are going to get away with it. And it's probably going to be an under because I think the officials are going to let them get away with some holding.
Okay.
Under.
how many
All right.
roughing the passer penalties?
Yeah.
How many
1 or 2.
penalties?
There'll be 1 or 2 of those. Always is. Now, how about this one, guys? If there is a defensive player that wins MVP, Brian, who is it?
Defensive player Wednesday. Oh, I picked the Chiefs, so I'm going to have to be thinking Chiefs. I think Jalen Watson is going to guard A.J. Brown. I think Trent McDuffie is going to guard Devontae Smith.
Okay.
I don't think there'll be a lot of sacks. Chris Jones, probably. Oh, here we go. Leo Chanel. He'd be my number
Okay.
54 linebacker. Yeah, it could be him.
Yeah.
Well, I
There's
mean, if Jones gets like 2 sacks and forces a fumble, and possibly recovers once, like, or maybe he gets like a fumble near the like inside the 10 and runs it for a touchdown,
Yeah.
I'll say Chris Jones.
Keith.
Well, I guess if it's an Eagle, which is the team I'm picking, I think it's a good chance it would be Carter. If it's a Chief, I think it'd probably be Karlaftis.
Okay. Gotcha. Mike.
I don't know. I think it's, to me, these awards, they award them for something, for a big play. If it's a defensive player, I honestly think it's going to be Chris Jones, because he's the name that usually is most recognizable with the Chiefs, and hopefully he'll be well enough to perform, and they are going to put a focus on him defensively. I don't know if a defensive player is going to win an MVP, though.
And
If
I'm
you're
gonna
Larry Brown, all you got to do is have Neil O'Donnell, and you
Ah, especially if you're able to stand put and raise
and
your
have
hand.
nobody around you.
Do I get,
No
not get a
receiver
football
anywhere in the
thrown in?
vicinity.
I'm gonna actually change my. I think Reed Blankenship's gonna play a big part of this game, but Gardner Johnson, that's who I'm gonna say will be the
CJ Gardner
MVP.
Johnson.
I think
Gardner
that's who,
hyphen Johnson.
yeah, I think that's who it'll be if it's a defensive player. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. When's the last time it was a defensive player? Was it Green Bay?
No, I think it was Von Miller.
Oh,
Denver.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
Von Miller.
Georgia.
If I was picking an Eagle, I would think about Cooper DeJean.
Oh,
Because
okay.
he's such a good tackler and he could cover
Yeah.
guys. So.
Yeah.
So does Georgia look better after this game, or Penn State with Karlaftis and Barkley?
Karlaftis just went to Purdue.
He did? I keep thinking he went to Penn State.
Nope.
Okay, I've probably made that mistake 3 times now.
That's okay.
Yeah, he went to Purdue. Saquon put Penn State,
Penn State.
but boy, oh boy, look at who on the defensive side they got. They got Carter. They've got what was that, number 19? Defensive
Nolan Smith. They got
Huh?
Smith. They got Nolan Smith from
Nolan Smith, and then I think they got 3 starters on defenses. From
is Nakobe Dean injured or is he still playing?
Jacoby Dean's still with them. He's there too. Yep. So that's 3.
You see, that's my thought there, that you have to really fish and try to pull out names of defensive players when you only have like one of each team that's very well represented, because you hear them a lot during a broadcast. That's why I don't think a defensive player, it could be somebody from the defensive backfield, pick off two and run back 100 yards, but it might be for the game-winning score. If he catches it and runs back something like 35 yards for a touchdown, great, he did it, but that's not MVP worthy.
Now we're hearing rumblings out of Chapel Hill that Bill Belichick is going to back out of that contract and going to end up going to Jacksonville. I've been hearing it all week here. That's been the rumblings here, and Chapel Hill's not happy at all about this, because it's going to set this program back 5 years. If they end up losing him and end up having to replace a coach in March or February or March, he's got all the way to June 1st, and all it's going to cost him is $1 million buyout. And then all he would do is go to Shah Khan and say, look, I want $12 million.
He's 73 years old in a couple months.
But I think that's what he wants.
How many years would he
All
keep there?
I heard about Double B is that he's been involved with this North Carolina, and he's won all these Super Bowls and stuff, and his girlfriend wasn't even born yet. That's all I hear.
We'll see what happens, but I say that's gonna be my extreme pick. He does not coach one game
You know,
for North Carolina.
you
I don't
know,
think he will coach a game for North Carolina.
you're not getting everything wrong.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the senior?
Miles Garrett, Brian,
Yeah.
where's Miles Garrett going to end up?
Will you stop it?
You might have to end up in Cleveland, but I know he desperately wants out. It's hard to say.
What was it, yesterday or today? Did he say, "I will retire before I come back to the Browns"?
Is that the last thing he
Well,
said?
yeah, I thought I heard him say that. Yeah, it was. It was with Fox News. Fox News reported.
Yeah, you have to kind of dismiss all that stuff. Like when Chris Jones was holding out a couple of years ago, the Chiefs knew that all they needed to do is get him at one game, and he would fold. And so they got him in the press box in one game, and he watched us lose to Detroit, and he folded.
Somebody's going to want to maximize their leverage to try to get what they want, and when they find out they can't,
the only way I think that he could scare them is if he indeed did sit out and say, "To hell with it, I will retire." If he really meant it. Now I don't know whether he could or not, but that could be a little scare for the Browns if they don't get nothing for him.
I don't know if Buffalo has the cap space, but I think they would be very interested in Miles Garrett.
Why?
Tim, opening day, Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett
plays for the Browns because the Browns won't be able to negotiate a deal. I'm sorry, he'll be property of the Cleveland Browns, but will he actually play for them? We'll see.
Keith, you think he's going to be a Brown?
probably not. It seems like there's too many teams that are willing to step up and offer something for him. To me, I don't know. I was looking and reading a bunch of names of teams mentioned. I was trying to imagine him with the Steelers, what that defense would look like.
No, they wouldn't dare do that.
Well, the Steelers are not a team that spends a lot of money on free
They wouldn't
agents.
spend that much money for two positions that they've already got covered. I mean, it's just
Right.
Yeah.
I'll throw a team out there out in the wild area. What about the New Orleans Saints?
Well, Kellen Moore's got
he
to
would
find a
go the
quarterback.
Saints. He would
They
not
got
go
to
the
find a quarterback.
No, he wants to be on a winning team.
They'll find a quarterback.
He wants to be on a winning team. Same way with the Raiders, but the Raiders are trying to trade Crosby. So I mean, what good would that do them? That's the only good thing about that would be this: they would be trading $22 million salary. Get rid of that if they could trade him for a $9 million salary with and he's got 2 more years under contract, so he's not going anywhere. But
Do you think he would go to Dallas if they wanted to make a move?
I don't think he would right now. Not under the umbrella they're at, because they're so strapped for cash that if they got him, they couldn't keep 11. They couldn't keep him. They'd have to get rid of it. I can't imagine getting rid of Parsons in a first. I can't imagine that. I don't think that would
Atlanta,
happen.
Tampa Bay.
I still say New Orleans, just on a hunch.
He would never play.
To me, the three teams right now, I think, that have the most leverage or most chance to get him is Washington. Number one, I think Washington is going to be where he goes. Detroit is they've got a slight chance of getting him, but they're so close to the cap. I don't think they could fit under the cap and be right. New England, he said he won't go to New England. New England has plenty of cap space, but he's not going there.
The 49ers are interested, though.
Huh?
The 49ers are interested.
The 49ers are interested, but the 49ers also want to trade.
They've got 49ers have cap space.
Do what, Brian?
They've got cap space. 49ers.
Yeah, they've got cap space and they want to get rid of some of their defensive players too. They don't want to give draft picks away. They want to give players away, and that's not exactly what the Browns are wanting.
Depends on who
You
they
know,
are.
the other obvious place would be Green Bay, but is Green Bay close enough to win the championship? Maybe. We'll see.
Chicago.
No, I don't think he wants to
I
go to
don't think so
Chicago. I
either.
think Chicago's a
I don't know.
they're a dumpster fire.
Unless he likes the idea of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and all that there with the receivers.
He
might like the
don't-
talent that's there.
he don't want to be part of a rebuild. And trust me, the Bears are not going to win the Super Bowl in the next 5
It's
years.
not a complete rebuild, though. That's the thing.
It's not certain who owns the Bears now. I mean,
Yes,
Right.
I was just about to bring that up.
Virginia
What's
Tech.
going to happen with Bears ownership? R.I.P. Virginia Hollis McCaskey.
Well, my
Yeah.
dad says he thinks there might be a trust or something that Hallis created many years ago that makes it very difficult for the family to sell the team. But I don't know
Yeah.
how legally things work on stuff like that. So
I don't either.
somebody's got to have the authority. I would.
You
think.
really, if think about it. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs are in on him.
No, but you know what?
Baltimore's not in on him. Buffalo. I've heard Buffalo's name mentioned.
Yeah, Buffalo would be definitely a possibility.
Right.
But
Buffalo. If you go to Buffalo, go with Buffalo. Number one, if you get a number one pick, it's going to be in the 20s. This year, you don't. This year's
How about
draft, Denver, I think it's just too far away. I think there's 6 or 8 teams he'll go to, and that's it. I really don't think I don't even think he'd go to Minnesota right now. I think Minnesota's
What
quarterback
if Jim Harbaugh flew over and talked to him for a while? Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know. I mean,
He might be able to talk him into it.
No.
he might be able to, but
that's a situation. They got 2 good pass rushers as it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're that interested.
Burris and who's their other one?
No, Khalil Mack and Jordan.
Yeah,
Buffett.
but Mack isn't going to stay, is he? I thought I heard he was going to be going somewhere. In fact, there were rumors the Bears might get him back somehow.
I don't know. I don't know there, but it's just when you start talking draft picks, this year is the worst class of offense probably in 10 years. I mean, hell, we're talking that the Raiders are willing to want to move up to get Shedeur Sanders, and the Bears. Who has number one pick? It's not the Bears, is it?
Titans.
The
Titans. All the Titans want is this year. I mean, this year's number one and another number one. Normally, in order to get the number one pick overall, it would cost you 3 or 4 number ones. But this year ain't nothing. There really isn't. Shedeur Sanders.
In 5 years from now, we might look back and say there was a lot of good talent that came out of the draft. It might not be quarterbacks, but they might be a lot of good.
Right. The best thing
I
is
don't know why they're not
this year,
letting Will Howard higher.
Pass rush.
Because I think he's a good quarterback.
pass rushers this year are pretty good, and defensive backs are decent. Running backs is 2 or 3 of them out there that people will talk. Ashton, Genty, or whatever. All I can say is this:
Out of Boise State, is it?
Yeah.
yeah, and the kid out of Arizona State, which I said all along he's overrated. But we'll
No, I
see
don't
what
think so.
happens.
Yeah, Scannable's pretty good.
But there's no way he's a number one,
Yeah,
number one draft,
I wanna
number
see
one
how many
first rounder.
of them
He's
stay.
not
No
number
way.
one draft pick,
But we'll see what happens. But the thing is, in a regular season, a regular year, you don't even talk about a running back going number 1, number 2, number 5, or nothing. This year, they're talking about 2 or 3 of them going in the first round. It's because the lack of talent on the offensive side of the football this year is just not there like it's been in the last
So
few years.
who are the guys out of Ohio State that are going to be taken pretty high this year?
Well, I like it linebacker. I don't know his
Boyer?
name.
Yeah, Sawyer, number 33.
Mhm.
Sawyer, yes. I like him.
If I don't know if Tui Moluau is draft eligible or if he's going to be in the draft, but he could go low first, high second, I think.
And Sawyer's not even picked. He's not even picked to go in the first round.
Right.
So-
he could be the best of them, but to
Yeah.
me, yeah.
You know, with the teams, it's with this draft, it's also about the teams and what they need. Look at the first few picks. What does Tennessee need? What is
Everything.
Tennessee, I will be willing to bet long before the draft day that pick is traded somewhere. Whether it's a Raiders, but if it's a Raiders, they're going to take a kid from Colorado. They're going to take, and I say that Shedeur Sanders. Now, to me, if I'm taking the kid from Colorado, I'm taking that receiver because I think he's 3 times. I think if you
Well, he
want,
might be your first pick.
Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah,
do what, Brian?
he might be your first draft pick. Now, Rob,
Yeah,
I want to ask
But
you
I'm
something.
hearing the quarterback goes first. All I can say is this: if I were going to pick number 1, and I had a team like the Raiders or Tennessee one, that receiver would either be my first pick or either I would be trading down because I might would go with that defensive tackle. I think he's from Michigan. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't see nothing that's a number 1 to me.
With-
I
They
would
got a
be-
defensive back at Michigan that's supposed to be pretty good too, I think.
I just don't know if he's going to be a number 1 overall. I think one of the 2 Colorado players ends up getting picked first.
Yeah.
And to me, I would rather have a receiver and work my way around and get myself a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, to me, I think he played too much street ball, if you want to call it that. I just think he drew a lot of plays up in the dirt and just played. And that's not going to work. That's not,
Also, I'm
especially
not sure how tough he is either. I watched him play
Yeah,
about 5 or 6 games.
AFC West ain't going to play around with him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's got the Chargers, he's got the Chiefs, and he's got the Broncos.
Yeah.
And they're all 3 much better than the Raiders right now. If the Raiders don't get an offensive line, they're going to be in more trouble. So, to me, I would probably trade down if I were the Raiders and probably try to get some offensive line.
Now, Rob, you're talking about how the draft class looks like it's down this year.
Yeah.
How much do you think that is because they're making so much money in college and they're just generally not – they're kind of coming out softer. They've already made that.
Well, they're Cadillacing it. A lot of people say they're Cadillacing it now because, all right, Shedeur Sanders clearly came out and said, what was it, before
He
the
made
Senior Bowl?
$6 million this year or something.
He made $8 million this year,
Yeah.
and then came out with a comment. I hate to leave Pops and the money behind
Yeah.
going to the pros. Now, that right there sounds idiotic in itself, but he's not going to make as much money his first year as a pro
Uh-huh.
as he did his last year in college.
These kids are not going to be as hungry
No, they're
as,
not.
as the previous classes.
And I'll tell you who's going to end up thriving. Central Florida, JMU, Old Dominion, East Carolina, these little schools, these small schools that don't have the money to be paying these athletes, they're still going to be hungry to want to get out there and get drafted and get out there and bust their asses. Now, these small schools are where you're going to have to start finding talent. South Florida, UConn,
Liberty.
Liberty. But Liberty's got too much money behind it now, too, because Liberty's
Guys,
got
I'm gonna get going because I haven't eaten anything since.
All right, Keith.
early morning.
Okay.
All right, me too.
Mike,
I'm out of here too.
Literally, Liberty has money coming from them from this Duck Commander. Is that? I think that's the one that he went to college there. One of the kids from Duck Commander, or Duck Dynasty, or whatever.
Mhm.
They're throwing money at these kids and it's nuts. It's crazy, man. I don't know what they're going to do.
So here's
But-
where the rubber hits the road. Before Mahomes was drafted by the Chiefs, he had an interview with Andy Reid. The day before he interviewed with Andy Reid, Mike Nagy called him and told him, "Here, you need to memorize." He gave him a crap load of stuff that you need to memorize, that so you look good in front of Andy Reid about his offense and what he's looking for. So he spent like 6 hours memorizing that stuff. And then when he went to do the 6-hour interview with Reid, Reid was impressed. And that was a hungry kid. I mean, but now you got somebody like Shadur. Is he going to do something like that? No, I don't think so.
Might need to get that Herb Brooks 150-page psychology test.
And I'll tell you what happened? How about this one? Worst case for Shador. What happens if he comes out totally friggin' flops as far as preseason, and he's not even the starter starting the season? You talking about pissed? That's going to be one pissed kid because he has been used to getting his way.
Have all this money and I'm not even starting.
Yeah.
It has to be like some Brie to go with his Cabernet.
You know what? It's been fun this year, guys, and we will plan on doing a draft pick show. Me and Brian will get together beforehand.
We didn't do it last year, but I did. I did write it down like I was doing it.
Yeah.
You know how many I got right?
Out of 32, 22.
18.
18. Okay.
Last year was an easy year. The year before that was awful. I think I only got 4.
Yeah. That year when we was together, and
that was bad.
It was tough because a lot of receivers went that year. It was a lot of receivers who went, and you just didn't know whether a team's going to end up picking a offensive lineman or go receiver. That was the tough thing. We kept jumping back and forth.
Tim, what do you think of that offensive lineman at Ohio State, number 74? Your left tackle.
To tell you the truth, I didn't. After with so many injuries they had, I couldn't keep track of any of them.
Yeah. I liked him when I saw him play. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, they kept Howard upright, which is now the problem is that their defense couldn't guard. They couldn't guard Goodnight or whatever the Notre Dame receiver. They got him for the first half, but couldn't guard him for the second half. I was like,
yeah, he got free. But at least number 1 stopped making all those penalties.
yeah, Igbinosun, yeah.
I know we're what 2, 3, almost 3 months, 2, 3 months, couple months away from the draft. Let's say 3 months. It's not quite that far, but now, Tim, how many quarterbacks would you say right now will go in the first round?
I'd probably say figure top 2 at least need one.
I think maybe 2.
I'll go with 3 to be generous.
Yeah, I would say 3.
I think 3, maybe 4, but I think 3 will probably go. I'm not saying they belong in the top first round, but when a team has nothing, the cupboard is there. What happens? A big thing is if the Jets hang on to Rodgers, but if they don't hang on to Rodgers, I think there's a good chance 4 go. We'll see.
Yeah, the beauty contest comes up February 26th.
You talk about
all get together and
the combine,
the combines.
Yeah.
It should be good. Is that in Indianapolis again this year?
Probably. I think it always is, isn't it?
I think most of the time it is. I think it's been in St. Louis a couple of times, but I don't know whether it's. But do they even use that dome anymore in St. Louis?
Yeah, St. Louis. Oh,
the USFL team plays in there.
That's right. The Battlehawks, the UFL team.
Okay, I got you. All right. Well, for Brian,
okay, go ahead.
We had Keith. We had Mike. Harris was Harris did give us a score. Sean 1113 Network. GPuck. We got your scores in. We'll see what happens. God bless. Be well. Let's hope everybody has great weather where we don't have to worry about any power outages or anything during the Super Bowl. It's happened here for them before, but let's hope it doesn't. And be good to one another. And do subscribe to the channel if you get a chance. I got some more stuff coming up pretty soon. God bless, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I used to go to the St. Louis Dome